So, Adele Leung, welcome to Breakfast with Bobsy.
Hi, Bobsy.
You're a beautiful woman who wears many hats, including the lovely one you're wearing today.
Thank you.
And I've known you for quite some time, going back a while, but I got to know you most through positive news, which is something I'd like to talk about later. But you are also running many projects around empowerment of women, perhaps, motivation of women, healing women, if I'm not mistaken. And you have your main platform called adeleleung.hk, right? But
Yeah.
you're also involved with a project called Simply Love Project.
Yes.
And Live True Be You.
Yes.
And Chick Chat.
Yes. That's cool. Yes.
Amongst other things, I'm sure. So welcome to Breakfast with Bobsy at
Thank you.
Cafe on a crisp, beautiful, sunny Hong Kong morning. I mean, this is as cold as it gets. The temperature is 7 degrees, and on some charts it's saying 5 and 6. And when I tell people that Hong Kong, the temperature drops to 5 or 6 degrees, they look at me as if I'm nuts. But we forget how cold it can get in our beautiful city. So yeah, here we are. Cheers.
Cheers, Bobsy. Thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure.
It's a lovely morning. I mean, yes, a bit cold, but then exactly these are the days, you know, we talk and we chat and we meet to bring more fire, bring more passion,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
to warm up, you know, our city, warm up, you know, the
Our hearts.
people around.
Yeah.
So yeah, really lovely to meet you today.
Welcome.
Yeah. And I hear you say, yeah, thank you for the introduction.
Did I get it right?
For me, yes. Everything, you know, everything, you know, the names are all correct.
Oh, good.
So amazing. But I wanted to kind of go a bit deeper, you know, is what you were saying about the empowerment of women and all of those things actually began with myself. So it was a process, you know, that I began with myself in loving myself. So why and what does that mean is when I did not actually know what self-love is, I actually can't empower, you know, anybody. And it would be kind of, for me, not very honest, you know, if I were, you know, out there and speaking to thousands of women, you know, about empowerment without me actually taking the steps to do that, first of all, with myself.
And that's why we're having breakfast together.
Yes. So all of those things that you mentioned, all the businesses and all the projects, you know, that I'm involved with actually began with that one simple, you know, idea, you know, is to, how is it for me when I start loving myself? How is this process actually, how does it feel? How does it feel in my body, and how does it work, you know, connected to my everyday, you know, life? Yeah. So, for example.
So, if I might interject, you can't love another until you love yourself, right? Like the old hippie adage, if you like, or the philosopher's adage is, if you want to change the world, you have to change yourself, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's exactly that, you know, and I've heard of those, you know, sayings many, many times in my life before, but until I actually took the steps, you know, step by step to live that,
Yeah.
I didn't really understand what it means for
No.
me. Yeah.
One who feels it knows it.
Yeah.
Until you feel it, you'll never know it, right?
Yes.
Cool. Was this after your breakup of your marriage? Did this come as a result of that?
Yes, it was actually, well, it has always been there, you know, the wonder and the wanting, you know, to know. But yes, I did go through a lot of different things in my life, you know, to come to the point where I said, really, okay, like Adele, you gotta do it, you know. So yes, after my breakup, you know, and after a long time search, you know, going to South America and, you know, all of those things, to come back to a very simple, you know, life. And that life was like, okay, actually, I don't know what love is, to be honest about that. You know, even though I knew love was always kind of a guidance, and I knew that was something really important in my life, but all the things that I've gone through up to that point, which is about 6 years ago, brought me to a place of super deep humbleness in saying to myself, I actually don't know, and it's okay, and I will start from not knowing and to discover again.
Was there a particular turning point, a eureka moment, a moment of realization, or was it just gradual?
There was.
Aha. Please share. These eureka moments excite me. You know?
You know, we used to live on Lamma together,
Yes.
same place.
You and me.
No, not together, but on the same island.
Right,
yes.
right. I just, yeah, okay.
No, I mean, yeah, on the same island.
Yeah.
And I've lived there for 6 years, and I lived on a spot on Lamma, which was very remote. It was about 45 minutes from Yongshiwan. So every morning, you know, I would walk 45 minutes to Yongshiwan, you know, basically to get anything, you know, to get even a bottle of water if I need to buy something. And so I was hiding in this place for a few years. And the moment came when I realized I was hiding from community and from people. And so I decided to move. I decided to come back to society. Decided to move back to Yongshiwan, basically. So, which was a more kind of a more busy part of Lamma.
Social.
Yeah, more social. So when I did that, I realized, okay, actually, I can't get used to it. So I couldn't sleep there. Like every night, even with the slightest sound, you know, I was awake. I was
so used to quiet and
Yes.
nature.
Yes. So, Bobsy, I thought I was very peaceful when I lived in that remote place, which was called Lok Chau. I thought I was very peaceful because every night I fall asleep with hearing the waves, and it was a place where there's not many people around, and I was basically
Aren't the dogs over there? The dog shelter?
dogs, yes, but not near to where I
Okay.
was. So you could basically go through every day without seeing anyone.
Beautiful.
You see, you know, I thought it was really beautiful
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But then for a long time, all my social interaction was through the internet. Like I was not meeting people or not talking to people, but I was doing a lot of things online. Until the moment I felt really, oh my gosh, Adele, you know, what really are you doing? And I would see the kites, you know, more than people every day. But there was a yearning inside of me that wants to be close to people, back close to people. So when I moved to Yongshiwan, I knew that was a correct, you know, movement for me, or direction for me. But I was so used to all that, you know, the peace and the quiet, that I couldn't get used to where I was. So it took me a long time. Eventually I moved to Discovery Bay, so a little bit more closer, you know, to community and people. But it took me a long time, like to get used to it. So I remember the first time I went to my apartment in DB, I was completely claustrophobic. I was like, I have to close the door, and it's like 7 floors above, In the past, all my homes, all my places were like, I open the door and it's already like the big ocean or the big sea,
Grounded on Mother Earth, yes.
Yes. So I made the change. I knew I had to,
Yes.
but it took a while, to get used to it. Yeah.
And the eureka moment? Was there a eureka moment?
The eureka moment was when I moved back to Yongchuan. Because I couldn't get used to it, so I couldn't sleep. So for 1 month, I didn't sleep, and I got sick, basically. So I had to come back, basically, to accepting what my body was telling me, be honest about it. And so I dealt with, my sickness, which was depression and anxiety, being with people and being in community, or more honestly, I should say, not being with people, or thinking that my truth was not being with people, and then coming back to accept all of those times, all of those years I have separated myself, and to come back to accept all of that.
And that's where self-love was awoken?
Yes. So for all the times when I was trying to escape, like going to Peru, living in a very remote place and not, hiding, basically from people and from the world, I came back. It came back to myself. It came back, with a willingness, to be back, in society. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you. And I love it.
So you've come back more empowered, more aware, on a mission, a change maker, making a difference. Yeah? Great. Life is beautiful like that, we like to think that, we're in charge and we can plan everything, but the reality is it's not.
Yeah.
What we can do is learn how to trust. Because if we do trust, then we are truly empowered. But this notion that we've been taught, which is a very masculine notion, which brings me on to the essence of the feminine, but we've lived for the last thousands of years in a very masculine-dominated world, with the essence of the masculine, and that is control, logic, power, war, structure, organization, competition, etc. So it's deeply ingrained within us from infancy, whether we're boys or girls, that we have to take charge of our lives and plan everything and control everything and know exactly what we want to be when we grow up. And structure our weeks so that we don't waste time and all of that. That's a false illusion. But what the essence of the feminine teaches us is trust. To let go and go with the flow. And we can only do that if we can actually learn how to trust, which is brilliant. I respect that.
Yeah, what you're talking about, Bobsy, is surrender. Which is...
Surrender, yeah.
Yes, you have a feeling that you are being taken care of. And you have a feeling, that no matter what happens in life, you are safe.
Yeah.
And you just let go and keep walking and keep facing whatever comes up. And there's a joy in that, there's no fight. And as you say, there's a true trust, the trust of, yes, like I'm a part of all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to do that to live a happier, healthier, more life of service. But if we're very self-centered and very insecure and worried and concerned and stuck in this rut of, I've got to become wealthier, I've got to get more money, I've got to become more powerful, we end up hurting ourselves at the end of the day.
I agree with you. I was just talking about the same topic with a friend yesterday, and it feels like, in the past I have some pictures of what I want to be, how I want to be that when, and how it's going to all kind of come together. But more and more recently, what I'm feeling is actually those pictures are kind of dissolving more and more, because the reason is because I feel everything is actually okay. Everything is fine. You don't need to be at a certain place at a certain time, because you just have this feeling that it's fine. Just keep going. And the thing is, I always get very touched, because my mentality or my idea of what I want to be is actually really very limited. But sometimes things happen in such a way that I can't even envision, with my limited capability.
No.
And it's very touching in those moments when you actually feel, oh my gosh, like, yes, being so taken care of.
But I do want to ask you, in relation to all these projects you're working with, and the insight you just shared with us, what's it like as a woman working in a dominated industry that's actually dominated by men, right? In many ways.
As well as other things.
And this would be a challenge I think a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah. In our industry, the fashion industry, we're dominated, men is not the only thing, we're dominated by glamour, we're dominated by money, we're dominated, by power and competition, as well. So as a woman, being in the industry for over 20 years now, my coping mechanism throughout all those years, is actually to hide, I don't want to be a part of this fully, I'll come and work, but all the other rest of my time, I'm not going to care about what's happening here. I didn't want to fully commit to the industry, although I've been working there for a long time. So all of my kind of hiding and all of my living far away from people in the past was my kind of reaction towards the world, saying I don't like this way that you guys work. I don't like the control. I don't like the competition. I know all of that's not true. So I'm going to build my own world, my own sanctuary, and I'm going to hide in there. I'm going to live in there, and that's, I'm safe there. That was kind of my thinking, in the past and my experience. So in all of those years, actually I thought I was safe working in the industry and not being affected by all those things that you just mentioned, by not fully committing. So what I would do is I'll go and work, say for a photo shoot, and for 4 hours, and then I would leave. I wouldn't talk to anybody, and I don't know anybody's lives. I'd just go and work, and I'd leave. And all the rest of my time, I would go travel. I'd go do my stuff. Go do other things. Not unrelated to the industry. So what changed was when I had that moment, of reflection 6 years ago, of understanding what love is again. I committed back to society first, and of course, to my industry as well. So how I actually am starting to work in the industry now is there's still all those things happening. We can't change those things. That's a part of, our society, our system. But in the system, I work with my own rhythm, and this rhythm, because of the self-love process, is respectful, first of all, to myself, but also to everybody in the industry. So with more examples, it's like, for example, I would go work in a very intense situation, which fashion is. And we work very long hours, and we work in disregard, for our bodies and for everyone around. Basically we'll go, for example, models, they they are not treated as people. They're like objects, you know, basically most of the time in a shoot. So during photo shoots, I would bring back a feeling of humanness just in the shoot by very simply, like, first of all, taking care of myself before I go to the shoot, and during the shoot, for example, nourishing myself with healthy foods, for example, one thing. And in that process, I would very simply offer or share this care with my group or with my crew, with the models. For example, they might come and they're kind of left there. Nobody takes care of them and don't want to know anything about them. I would go and talk to them. Okay, I would ask, okay, what would you like to eat? There's nothing on the fast food menus that suit them, then we'll go further. Sometimes I order from you guys, you know, to cater for a shoot. So that, okay, this is something they're more used to. They like salads, you know, they like, you know, fresh foods, which you can't find it sometimes in the fast food takeaways, something like that.
And invariably, because around here in this neighborhood, they're always filming movies, which is technically the same industry, really.
Yes, yes.
And you see what they're eating, styrofoam lunch boxes
Yes.
after styrofoam lunch boxes. They bring them up in plastic bags, with the chopsticks in plastic bags and the white napkins and the plastic forks and spoons, and they're just everywhere. You guys are filming a movie creatively and you're trashing your home. And it's the same with models and the fashion industry. Not to mention, you know, the health aspects of it. And I find that bizarre because people in this industry are creative. Yet their creativity is so limited to what they're doing. There's no creativity looking at the bigger picture, and you come as a motherly figure with motherly love, you know. Are you cold? Are you hot? How are you doing? Are you hungry? You know, that's brilliant.
Yes, it's very simple and it's natural actually for a woman, you know, maybe for men as well. But just the simplicity, you know, bringing back a level or standard of decency and respect to our industry and to the world, you know, basically. Care is a very innate quality. You know, it's strange, you know, that this is not a part of our natural society. Yeah, so just to kind of rebringing it, it's not something new. We all have it.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
And any other insights from a woman working in this industry?
Yeah, so to take it a little bit further is...
Yes, please. Let's take it deeper.
Deeper, yes. Is one of the projects I'm running is called Live True Be You. It's been going on for about 1.5 years now. And in the beginning, it came together with a couple of people in the industry, like myself, a photographer, a makeup artist, and a hairstylist. So basically my background is in fashion styling, so I'm a stylist. So we came together and we wanted to do some tests. So what does that mean? Tests is basically we bring our profession and our creativity and we do some photos. So why do we do this? In the beginning, when I first initiated this, it was because I wanted to explore more what it means to be a woman. So exactly your topic, you know, like we're a woman. I'm in a woman's body, but we're in a society and in a city, Hong Kong, you know, where sometimes I feel I'm completely lost. I don't know what it means to be a woman. Is a woman really like being like a man and doing everything that a man can do and being competitive and fierce, you know, and all of those things? I question all the time, is that really true?
Yeah.
So I started the project when I was in a very, very vulnerable state that I felt personally for myself, because I had a very short kind of a relationship with somebody and suddenly that person disappeared. And I couldn't get in touch with him and all of those things. So I had a lot of feelings to process, but at the same time I felt I had a lot of love that I have held back from expressing. So instead of expressing it to, you know, like somebody outside, you know, to a partner, to a friend or whoever, I started to express that to myself. So I made this space and asked people to come and support, so that this is a space I could give back this love to myself and to everybody who was involved. So I became the model, you know, in this project, as well as the stylist. I started to dress myself, you know, I started to be in front of the camera, basically, but in a way where I felt I was respected, and in a way that I felt, you know, like I'm not being abused. So everything would be done in such gentleness, and it's
You
such...
were the director, the actor, the producer,
Yes.
after all, right?
Yes.
So you could control the show.
Well, control maybe not is a stronger word,
Yeah.
but yes, to feel.
Yeah.
To feel, you know, what actually feels good and what doesn't, and when it doesn't feel good, to say no. And I have the right to say no, because in the conventional modeling business, a lot of the times the models feel they don't have the right to say no. But yes, we do actually, and we don't have to fight it, you know, but we can say, hey, actually, I want to do it in a more gentle way. When I'm hungry, actually, I want to stop for 15 minutes or half an hour. I want to eat something first before I carry on with the shoot.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how's this project going? Are you getting more and more people from the industry coming on board?
It's cool because just recently we had a meeting which we took stock. So we went back and looked at how it was for us at 1.5 years ago. The people involved, everybody had personal changes in their lives, which is amazing. You know, some people were very down, very depressed when they first joined us, and now they took on a more kind of self-empowering, you know, position in their life. They might start to exercise or work out, you know, feel better in their
Live
bodies,
more,
eat better, and deal with issues, you know, and all of this. I sort of see their changes, and that is the touching thing.
Yeah.
For myself, physically, I can see my change, like how I was very, very thin and skinny in the beginning, and now, you know, I feel myself more substance. I have more substance, and I'm more grounded, you know, and I have more authority in the way I express, you know. So all of those things are building up, and we're opening up now this so that more people, if they want, you know, they can come and join us.
Lovely. Great. All power to you.
Thank you. No, everyone, yes.
Yes. And another thing I want to talk to you about, and this is something I rarely discuss in public nowadays, and it's this. Now, you were the editor of Positive News for what, 2 years?
I don't know, maybe, yeah.
At least a good 2 years. And these are the only two I could find very quickly this morning when I was on my way here. And this is from autumn 2008. It's about the Earth Champions in Hong Kong. Bilingual Positive News. Brilliant. What an amazing concept. I mean, are we ready for this again or what?
Oh, wow. Yes.
I mean, and the fact that it was beautifully bilingual and, you know,
yes.
well translated. I think Dr. Simon Chow was leading that with his students. But to talk about positive things, I mean, genuinely positive things. I mean, look at this one here.
I think I joined already this. I remember this. But it was almost 10
China
years
bans
ago.
plastic bags.
Yes.
I mean, you know, Australia says sorry. This is where the Prime Minister back then, Kevin Rudd, apologized on behalf of all Australians, all Caucasians, for what they did to the Aboriginals. Of Australia, what a wonderful, empowering move. And this caught my attention. China says no to plastic bags. Now, I'd forgotten about that. Did that become a reality? Do you know? Or?
Probably not.
But yeah, and you edited this, and I submitted some stories, and of course Peter Lloyd was the co-founder, and I think at this stage Peter Lloyd was the editor, and Delina Samara was the associate editor.
Yes.
For me, it just says director, but then there's all these contributors here, including myself. I think you joined us a little bit later.
Maybe.
But yeah, that was a fun project, and just to let people know that we published from 2004 until 2011.
Yes.
And Positive News was published 4 times a year, spring, summer, autumn, winter, brilliant. And we covered topics that were universally positive and locally positive.
Yes.
And topics that are even more relevant today, because they were relevant then, but the urgency of protecting our environment now is a lot stronger, right?
Yes.
And people are shouting out, and there's a lot more people becoming aware. And when we had to stop Positive News because we simply ran out of funds,
Yes.
and raising funds was becoming a headache, and none of us really wanted to do that. We just wanted to share positive news and share the love. I remember personally pressing pause on it and telling Peter Lloyd, no, let's not dissolve this as an NGO, let's keep it.
Yes.
And one day I would love to revive it again, and I
Yes.
still would.
I remember very clearly the 3 of us working together, and you guys, were pioneers in the awareness, of the environment and of, such a paper. And I do remember very well also the commitment behind it.
Look at all these wonderful children. There's a school just up here, and they bring them down for physical exercise,
Yes.
and then they bring them up again. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
No, but it was a movement, back then, that I felt the commitment of. And I still remember very clearly you said, okay, we're just putting it on hold, and we'll come back to it. And we will, when it's ready.
Yeah. I mean, we never made money out of advertising, did we?
No.
But it's something that I think many corporations or businesses would be very proud to sponsor.
Yes.
We just needed to get through to the right people at the right time.
But you know what? The thing is, when you're a pioneer at something, it will never be mainstream. But now the awareness might be more mature, for such a paper that you already have the foundation of.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of
There's an
timing.
example here. And perhaps one could say that the audience has grown a lot. Just captured me here, a green heart for Central, an idea whose time has come. That sounds very much like my words.
Yes.
So I opened to page 5, and I'd completely forgotten about this. A green heart for Central. Why can't Hong Kong have a downtown area? An area in which people can enjoy themselves and relax while absorbing the unique vibes of this modern cosmopolitan city. Unlike most great cities, Hong Kong lacks a city center area that is free of traffic and cars and what have you, right?
Yes.
And this is something that I've been vocal about. Why aren't we pedestrianizing our streets in Hong Kong? When you pedestrianize your streets, you bring culture, you bring creativity, you clean up the pollution, but also you attract a lot of business, a lot of tourists, local and from overseas. And you can design street furniture, you can have al fresco dining, you can have street musicians, you can have children everywhere. It makes sense for everyone, including the economy, including business, and of course the environment and our health and our children. And our government is just not paying attention to what really matters. What really matters is our health and our well-being and our culture and our heritage. And why on earth have we not pedestrianized Soho yet? It'll be so good for everyone, including the government. So yeah, it's funny that this morning I only saw these 2 copies and I'm like, damn, I know we have much better copies and they're both from 2008.
Yes.
I'd love to be sharing one from 2004 or 2010. But there you go, now it's allowed me to say this on camera.
Yes.
That pedestrianization makes sense, and it's an idea whose time has long since come.
Yes. To to feel what you've just said, and the inspiration of you finding these two copies today is to go back and see, oh my gosh, those topics 10 years ago that you wrote about and that you were passionate about might still be it's not something that we have really looked at as a society yet. Yes, time has gone, but also I can feel a very lovely thing that you said, and it touched me, and it was, why isn't the government feeling those things? And the why sometimes for me comes as everything happens within us first. Everything happens within us, and that change if it's within, for example, in our lifestyle, in the way we eat, in the way we live, in the way we sleep, etc., etc., it starts to kind of germinate and grow and bloom, so that our awareness becomes different. So great question. Like, what if in society, what if in Hong Kong we start from the very basics, and that basics is that everyone take more attention or care in themselves, in their lives and in their bodies, in their diet, in the way we live, the rhythm that we live. When we do, perhaps that change becomes natural. Yeah.
And we are, no? I mean, more and more of us are
definitely
doing that. And when I say, why doesn't the government? Well, the government's made out of people.
Yes.
Mothers and fathers.
Yes, definitely.
Brothers and sisters.
Definitely.
Children.
So maybe in the big government, there are certain people already doing this happening, yeah. But the whole government, is, we need everybody's, like slowly, collectively, to bring this. Therefore, I feel it's actually encouraging, with, I know, because for example, you're in the food and beverage business.
Not quite.
Well, yeah.
I don't like to think of us as F&B business, but yeah.
But you can see the progression or the change from when you first started to now, like how people are accepting more, the diets and the cuisines as a lifestyle, basically.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we opened the Bookworm Cafe in 1997.
Yes, I remember still.
And we were saying the same thing then that what we're saying now. The difference is that the audience has grown much, much bigger, and there's dozens and dozens, if not hundreds now, of healthy, plant-based restaurants, cafes. But what has saddened me and what's disappointed me a little bit is the lack of awareness in business. So when you said I'm in the F&B business, it doesn't sit well with me. The reality is I am. But we've always seen ourselves as champions of change, as trailblazers, as pioneering biodegradable cups and packaging and being zero food waste and all of this. So I'm saddened to see the industry lagging behind. Business owners not caring about their back door as much as they care as their front door. Not willing to reduce their waste, because restaurants, F&B is a massive polluter. Massive polluter. So I'm saddened by the business owners, but in terms of the public and the awareness, booming.
But the amazing thing is you are part of this.
Yes.
You're part of this. And being the change maker that you are, it's so amazing to be leading this. Yeah, maybe other people might not get it right away or might not follow suit right away. But the thing is, you're part of this, so you're part of the movement. You're part of the industry. Just the same as I'm in fashion, I can't change the industry, but I know I'm part of it. So whatever I do in the industry, it's affecting the industry. It might take hundreds of years. I don't
No.
know. I don't know.
Things
But-
change much quicker these days.
But-
Decades, yeah.
But love is patient, you know,
Yeah.
that's what I know is love is very, very patient. You know, we might not get it for a while, but it doesn't matter. What matters is we're in there and we're getting on it.
Absolutely. Concur. And you must be noticing a lot of celebrities, and I know you've worked with actors and actresses and top models, and you must be noticing a lot of change happening within them because they're a lot more exposed to other cultures and, you know,
Yes,
you noticing that?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in Hong Kong, I observe the change is very gradual. But yes, I do see more and more people like in the public eye. They care much more about you know their lives, you know
Yeah.
what they eat, and
Yeah.
the awareness of all of that. Might not be a drastic change yet,
Right.
but there is definitely. And so what I really want to appreciate is you know positive news from more than 10 years ago and 10 years now later. You know, we might not have changed, you know, a system or anything, but there's definitely gradual change, and that has to be really appreciated.
Hey,
Yeah.
if we publish positive news again now,
Yeah.
it might not be, 20 pages. Maybe it's going to be 30 pages.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to be double because there's a lot more positive things
A
happening.
lot,
right?
lot more to talk about. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if we just covered the F&B world, as you said, it'll probably cover 2 editions, not to
Absolutely.
mention fashion and health.
And
and
what
all
I
of
what I
that,
feel
yeah.
also is there will be many more contributors who want to help out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe sponsors who are willing to sponsor it, right? Because if I was running a successful corporate with money to spare, I would love to sponsor something like this because this adds value,
Yes.
right? It gives you a good image, and it's got integrity, so it's genuine. The fact that we're discussing it now, maybe there's a little
Yeah. Beautiful.
rekindling of
Yeah.
good old positive news. How do you say positive news in Chinese?
Chinese. 正面
Ding,
正
thing,
面
mean,
新
san,
聞
man,
Yeah.
sing,
面
mean,
新
sang, man.
聞 Yeah.
Beautiful. I must learn that. And I think just to close a little breakfast here, you haven't had any of the truffles yet.
No, I'm okay. Can I take them away with me?
Of course you can,
Thank
yeah. Is to perhaps talk a little bit about how you see the essence of the feminine. Yeah?
Yes.
Mm.
For me, this is something natural, and it's something within myself. You know, it's not something that I can say, okay, like I give you a picture or describe how it is. But for me, it's something that I always feel inside of me. So as a woman, I feel we have a quality, and this quality is very beholding. It's
Qualities.
quality, yeah. But the first one I feel is a very beholding quality. It kind of holds a situation, yeah. Like you wrap your arms around, but without squashing. You know, it's not an imposition or a control, but it's just like, okay, I see everything. I see the big picture, and I understand. So there's
Is it like a compassionate hold,
yeah,
like
so
a
it's
mother's
just
hold?
very
Yeah.
gentle, you know, but it's holding. I can see whatever is happening, and I can accept. I can accept differences, you know, in people. I can accept, you know, the world, you know, but at the same time, I don't have to offer a judgment. It's kind of like a deep stillness and security I feel inside of myself, which naturally kind of expands out. And I feel also for both men and women, but women may express this a little bit more, is our tenderness. So the tenderness is simply, you know, we've already discussed this earlier, is just a basic decency, caring, you know, of ourselves and of people.
Non-judgmental.
Yes.
Tolerance.
Yes. Well, non-judgmental, yes. Tolerance, sometimes I feel it's a little bit suppressed. So there might be a expression of something that you don't like, but it's not in a judgmental way. It's just saying it as it is. Yeah. And
I mean, the feminine is more tolerant to diversity. Black, white, bisexual, gay, straight, whatever. Different cultures, different races. It has a tendency to be all embracing, while the masculine has a tendency to be more judgmental and putting things in compartments, more logical, you know.
yes.
And
understand.
I sincerely hope that we get more and more feminine leadership in the world, whether it's by a man or a woman.
Yes, I understand.
I sincerely want to see that, and it's happening, and it's part of this paradigm shift we're going through. This transformation, this awakening is led by the feminine. Otherwise, we'd still be seeing Mother Nature as the enemy. A lot of people still do, sadly. But collectively, as a race, as a humanity, now we see Mother Nature as our mother, feminine. And this definitely happening, but I really want to see more of this in Asia, in this part of the world.
Oh, you've reminded me there's one thing really beautiful, is also vulnerability. Okay, so this is not a weakness, but it is an honesty of like, I don't need to put up a front or protection that I'm perfect or that I'm always strong. I can be vulnerable. And in the vulnerability, if I allow myself to feel it and express it, but not indulging in the emotion of it, it's very powerful. It's very powerful because we break down the walls between people, the barriers. If I truly, you know, require assistance or support, I ask for it. And in that sense, people can help each other because a lot of people want to help, and we're not always perfect, and we're not always okay and strong. And this, I feel, is a quality that would bring people, community together. Yeah.
More of that, please.
Yes.
Can I have some more?
Yes. Yes.
Adele, on that note, on that positive note, I want to thank you for sharing this moment with me on the 1st of February.
Yes.
On a crisp, sunny, beautiful, fresh Hong Kong day, coldest day so far, for allowing me to wear this Moroccan wonder that it is, that I haven't worn maybe since this time last year.
You're a fashion dude.
My background and my love for fashion is always there.
Yes.
I don't know if you know, but that's how I started in Hong Kong, with Gaia, my fashion company, but it was eco-fashion.
Yes.
It was primarily focused on raising awareness, and I did it through raw cotton or organic cotton, very simple tees, t-shirts, long sleeves, and that's how I started in Hong Kong.
Yes.
Raising awareness about our mother, the earth, which reminds me that you're involved in teas as well.
True teas.
Tea teas.
Yes.
A little bit about that, please.
Sure. It's my first fashion brand that came out about a little bit more than a year ago.
Right.
Okay. It was a collaboration with an amazing genius man called Phil Cleaver. So he designed all the logos for me. It's a logo, kind of a slogan tees. Yeah. So the amazing thing about it was, you know, in the fashion industry, we create a lot of the times with a lot of abuse. So it might be to the environment, sometimes it might be to people, but this brand, I would want to address those things within myself first. So, because it's a very small scale, business, so I don't have, a lot of support of, people doing this.
Distribution and sales.
Yeah, no,
and
no. So it's a very, very small scale business.
And the message was true to yourself, true love, love self, self-love.
So when I did this brand, basically I brought the brought the care back to my life, brought the love back to my life. So every step of the way when I created, it was related to how I lived. So one example is, for example, if I'm a designer in the conventional mainstream fashion business, I might work, not sleep for many days to create my line, so to speak. Okay, but when I created this line,
You slept well, you ate well, you loved well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I lived in a way which
Yeah.
was respectful to me, and therefore everything I put into the brand, into the teas, was there already.
Beautiful. Hence the name, True Teas.
Yes.
Adele, thank you.
Thank you, Bobsy.
Until we meet again.
Yeah, you're beautiful.
Just a reflection.